No one embarrasses me. No one disrespects me. The World Heavyweight title is mine. That's right, I said it.
I got into professional wrestling at 30 years old.
30? Is that late for pro wrestling?
Really late. But I was at the point where I had wasted my 20s in nightclubs. I was a bouncer from the time I was 17 till I was about 30, and I was broke and had no future and had 2 kids, and I was desperate. So I was trying to figure out what I could do, and kind of a light bulb went off over my head, and I was like, what am I qualified to do? And professional wrestling was the answer. And of course, originally I failed miserably at that, but I just stuck with it, and I kind of, I found my way, and a few years later I was world champion. Being on the road with WWE is such a grind. I mean, it really just developed my work ethic, and I think I always had a strong work ethic, but nothing like after I came out of the WWE. I mean, they really prepared me to just tolerate anything. You have to have a really thick skin there to begin with, but you also have to just pull your weight and be, willing to sacrifice. And I sacrificed a lot. I've been through a lot of injuries, a lot of, lost time with family throughout my wrestling career. I was never home. I lost a marriage with, someone who's a very, very close friend of mine. We still remain friends, but just never being home just tore our marriage apart. I grew up, not under great circumstances. I grew up in the hood. I was surrounded by, a lot of violence, a lot of crime. I was definitely a product of my environment. I kind of snapped out of it when I was older, when I realized it was kind of a dead end road. My mom helped me. She sent me to live with my dad when I was, I think, about 12, 13, when I was bigger than her and getting in tons of trouble.
Yeah.
So I really didn't, I didn't honestly know what I wanted to do with my life, like for the rest of my life, till I was about 30 years old. And that's when I knew that I wanted to entertain people.
What advice did Rock give you?
We had talked a little bit, beforehand, even when I wanted to go into film, about going into it. And, it's a very hard transition. And you're already under a microscope because people, for one, they label you. But then they also, everybody will look for every excuse, every reason they can to be negative about what you're doing. And you're just another big muscle head trying to be an actor. You just want to be a movie star. But also, and he put it just in the perfect way, because I was really finding it hard. I always thought it was amazing that he was actually able to go from film to wrestling, to film to wrestling, to film to wrestling. And he described it as quicksand. He said, man, especially with the company, because WWE, they're very controlling. They're not the easiest company to deal with. And he was like, it's quicksand, man. He said, don't get caught in the quicksand. You're not trapped here, man. You have to be strong. You have to, stand your ground. And if this is what you want to do, you have to make them know, make it known that this is what you're going to do. And you're not going to deviate from that plan. Not going to be flexible about it. This is what you got to do. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
When I went back for my short stint with the WWE, I said, this is how long I can stay. I can't stay any longer because I've got these other obligations. So he made it work for me. He helped me make it work. I have to say that also I'm not afraid to be a student either. If I love something, I want to learn about it. And I kind of open myself up to that, and I never feel like too proud to be able to learn something. You can learn something about everything.
So how were you as a kid, Dave? Were you like, I feel like you were a troublemaker, but is that...
Oh God, no, I was so quiet. I was such an introvert. I was so shy when I was young. I was always bigger than the rest of the kids, but I was just always really, really shy, like extremely, painfully shy.
Are you still a little shy?
Very much, yeah. I've definitely come, it's weird, I didn't come out of my shell until I started professional wrestling, and that kind of forced me out of my shell. But I still struggle with it somewhat. I have a bit of social anxiety. There's certain things I still struggle with. But even like a lot of people who grew up with me were just shocked to find out that I was, a professional wrestler, that I was performing in front of people, speaking in front of people. Because I was such an introverted kid. She just, like, that's you speaking in front of thousands of people? I just can't believe it. But my mom is actually my biggest fan, like, by far. Anxious. I'm feeling really anxious. I'm not the type of person to settle down and be content. I always want to, my big goal is to be making films. And so I became obsessed with acting, and I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be respected as an actor. I still don't, I feel like I've somewhat found myself as an actor, and I kind of have an idea of what my strengths are and what I can do and what I'm not great at. But what I really love is just being a part of the process of making films.
So what do you miss most about wrestling, like in being in that ring?
I miss the crowd. The adrenaline of the live audience, man. There's nothing like it. Yeah, I miss it. I miss it daily. I miss the freedom of creating excitement. You know, it's wrestling's the best way I can describe it, and I've used this. I think it's the close as an athlete can get to being a rock star.